Alright guys, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and especially if you enjoyed this video. Tyson Fury, Kovalev on the slide. I really fancy Yarde by knockout. So I'm going to be quoting Tyson Fury now. I fancy Anthony Yarde. I really do fancy Yarde. I think Kovalev is on the slide. He has been a good world champion in his time and has done very well, but I think the Andre Ward losses have done him really. Although he lost that fight to Elidio Alvarez and then came back and beat him. I think a young man will always be an older one, and that has always been my motto. I fancy Anthony Yarde to knock him out, not just beat him on points, stop him, because that is what he needs to do in Russia anyway. It will only make his career better when he wins away from home. I've been all over and kept winning. If you're any good, you'll win, and if you're not, you'll lose. Simple as. Home advantage means nothing to me, but it does to a lot of people because they are not natural fighting men. Some people can't fight off their own soil, but I can because it was bred in me. So we are going to see what Anthony Yarde is made of, and I think he'll do it. A good young man should be a good older one. I believe he'll do it, and I believe he'll be a good world champion. It is a very, very good fight for Yarde, and I think he deserves it. His time has come, and I hope to God he can pull it off because, all right, so that's basically what Tyson Fury had to say there. He's picking Anthony Yarde to win, and he's saying this because, oh no, he's picking Anthony Yarde because, as you can see, he says he believes a good young fighter always beats an older fighter, and he feels that Sergey Kovalev is on the slide. Now, ever since Sergey Kovalev lost to Andre Ward, he hasn't really been the same. That's what I'll say. Like, before he fought Andre Ward, he was knocking everybody out. Everybody, he was like the guy that people were afraid of, right? People were saying everybody was ducking him. Then Andre Ward fights him. He gets the controversial win. The first time around, the second time around, once again, it was controversial because people felt that Andre Ward was low-blowing Sergey Kovalev, but he hasn't looked the same since he lost, or he didn't look the same for several fights when he lost to Andre Ward. He ended up losing to Elidio Alvarez. He fought Simbransky, who really I don't really rate like that. But then he looked really good against. He changed trainers and he looked really good against what's his name, Elidio Alvarez in his last fight. What I will say is this. Sergey Kovalev is definitely not, in his prime like he was, at the start of this decade. He's like, 30? He's going to be 36 this year, or I believe he's already 36. And Anthony Yarde is like 27. So there's like an 8 to 9 year age difference. So my only problem with Anthony Yarde is, yes, he has the youth and everything, but Anthony Yarde, he hasn't fought anyone. That's why I keep saying, for me, this is one of those fights where I'm just going to find out a lot about Anthony Yarde in this fight. I can't tell you that, I'm not as confident as, Tyson Fury in saying, 100% Anthony Yarde would win against Sergey Kovalev because I don't know what level he's at. I've never seen him fight a guy in the level of Sergey Kovalev. That's why I'm so curious about this fight, and I'm so excited that this fight's going to happen next week because I'm going to find out what level this guy's actually in when he fights Sergey Kovalev. Like I said, if he gets destroyed against Sergey Kovalev, he was never in the level of Sergey Kovalev. But if he goes in there and beats him, then clearly he was. And like I told you guys, nothing against Sergey Kovalev, but I said in my previous video about this fight, about Sergey Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde, I said that it would be nice to see Sergey Kovalev lose to Anthony Yarde. Not because I don't like Sergey Kovalev. Like I said, I think he's a good fighter. He's very entertaining. He gave me a lot of exciting fights, knocking dudes out left and right. But I feel like he's like last generation's, you know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a new generation now in boxing. If you look at the light heavyweight division, the best guys, the majority of them are young dudes. Well, I take that back because Jean Pascal just beat Marcus Brown, and he's like the same age as Sergey Kovalev, but Jean Pascal and Sergey Kovalev are from the same generation. They've been around for a while, so it would be nice to see, Anthony Yarde beat Sergey Kovalev, just because it would be like a new face in the light heavyweight division. Uh, but like I said, I don't know who's gonna win this fight. I favor Sergey Kovalev to win because he has the experience, and I know what Sergey Kovalev is about. And Anthony Yarde never fought nobody, never got hit against anybody who punches like Sergey Kovalev. Maybe he gets hit, he feels Sergey Kovalev's punching power, and he freezes. Cause sometimes fighters they get punched by a big puncher, and then they don't take risks throughout the whole fight. You know what I'm saying? And you see what Tyson Fury said here. He said Anthony Yarde has to knock out Sergey Kovalev in Russia. He has to, because they're not going to give him the fight in Russia. And I do agree with that. Although Sergey Kovalev fights mostly in the U.S., and he doesn't have. I don't think he's not like Alexander Povetkin, who has a massive fan base in Russia, but still he's from Russia, so I would imagine he'll get all the support. But yeah, I'm just intrigued in this. I don't know who's gonna win, but I just hope it's a good fight. I'm just so curious to see what level. That's why I want to see this fight the most, because I want to see what level Anthony Yarde is. I want to see if he is. Like I said, he's never fought outside the UK. He's never fought somebody like Sergey Kovalev. So this might be a situation where he just freezes. Sometimes fighters, damn, it's training like crazy. Sometimes fighters freeze. So yeah, I'm gonna find out so many things in this fight. So I'm excited, and I'm out.